And the first dish we're going to make is a beef stew, Kristen, in a crock pot. How easy can this be? Because you can go to work and then forget about it after you've made it. You just go out the door and it's done. So we want to start by browning some beef in a skillet. You want to do this first before you put it in the crock pot, so this is important to know. You brown up the beef, and all I did here was take my stew beef and coat it in a little bit of flour that's been seasoned with salt and pepper. Sounds easy, right?
Right.
And you can buy the beef already cut up for stew in the grocery store, so you don't even have...
You can buy it already cut up?
Already cut up, so you don't even have to do this at home. But to give this a little bit more flavor, and because I know you know a lot about Italian food, because you travel in Italy a great deal, we're going to put in some pancetta. Pancetta, and that's Italian bacon. So we're going to put that right into the skillet. And while I'm doing this browning, you know, I'm thinking about, how's my wine selection, number one?
Well, I've been looking at some of the bottles that you have here.
Yeah.
Taking a look and thinking about what would be the best pairing. And I think that based on the ingredients and what you're cooking up there, that the Terre Primitivo would go really well.
You notice I just browned up that meat and put the pancetta in just for a second. Now I'm putting it in the crock pot. Now I'd like to deglaze the pan with some of that wine. So can you just throw some in the pan here for me?
Right here in the pan?
Right in the pan. We're going to get all those flavors.
How's that?
Oh, give me a little bit more. And I'm going to scrape that up. That's great. Okay. I'm going to scrape that up and just cook that off, and you can tie up some of those herbs for me that are going to go in the crock pot. So I don't want to leave this flavor behind here. So you see, this is a trick in the kitchen. So whenever you want to deglaze a pan for a stew like this, and you have wine in the dish, put the wine in the pan first. Get up all those little scrapings. And then
get everything that's remaining in the pan when we get all that flavor together?
You don't want to leave that behind, and all of that goes into the pan. Easy, right?
That looks perfect.
Okay, now we can get rid of this because we know that our beef is in there. And with it, we're going to have some beef broth, and you can just find that in the grocery store. You want to chop up some celery for me?
Sure.
Yeah, here's a knife.
Which knife do you like? This
just
one?
Use that one.
Okay.
So you can just put some beef broth that you buy in a store into the pan because we need that liquid. And because we're doing this in a crock pot, this is going to cook for hours on very low heat, so that when you are on the road, Kristen, for the day, and you come home, when you open the door, everything is going to smell wonderful and dinner is going to be ready. And here we have tomatoes. These are just plum tomatoes. We chop them all up. They go in. I'm making a lot because I'm going to send you home with lots of stew, so you don't have to think about what you're going to have the next day.
And after all of this stays together for a while, even the second or third day, it tastes even better,
Second or third day, it's even better. So you mix that around. I've got some onions here, so we're going to put the onions in. And we want some bay leaf. So this I leave whole. I never cut this up because you run the risk of getting a little piece in your throat and then choking. So that goes in. You want to chop up some garlic?
Okay. Do you want a fine chop on this or a pretty big piece?
Doesn't have to be a fine chop. So in goes some celery. Just give me a little chop.
Okay.
I'm going to put these tops in too because that's good. So this is just a basic beef stew. And a little bit of pepper, of course. We've got a flavor as we go along. And some salt. And we've got some carrots here, just sliced up. So carrots go in for color, texture, nutrition, and just because they belong in a stew. So that's all in. And then we need some potatoes. You like potatoes?
Sure. And those are little red potatoes?
Those are little red potatoes. They're just potatoes new potatoes, or you can use boiling potatoes if you want to. You can basically put anything you want into a stew. I'm going to add just a little bit more celery in there.
Should I keep chopping the garlic?
That's good. Let's put that in. Get that in. That goes in. And then potatoes. You want to bring those herbs over here and tie them into a little bouquet for me. This is really essential in a stew. You want to make sure that you have.
Tighter here?
Yeah, just tie it together so it holds together, so that when we take this out, we can just fish that out in one bunch instead of having to look for individual pieces. Now look how colorful that looks. Throw it right in.
Okay.
Throw it right in. The cover goes on. And Kristen, 6 hours later, we have beef stew.